Good morning, everyone. Thank you for logging in to this webinar. My name is Erica Sari. I am a consultant at SANDAG iCommute program, and I'm very happy to be the moderator of today's webinar. So I see that some people are still logging in. So while we get started, I want to invite you to take a quick poll. And as you know, this is, so there it is. So this is a safety and also a commuting webinar. So I want to hear about what are your concerns about your commute? Is it traffic? Is it parking, air pollution, flexibility, public health? One thing I want to mention, if you're having trouble responding to the quick poll, please try to minimize that window. Just click or hit escape or that little square button on the right-hand side of your screen, and then try to answer the question. I'll wait a few minutes to see the answers. Good, I see more people are joining in. Thank you, welcome everyone. Good morning. So for those who are just joining right now, we are running a quick poll question. Feel free to answer. We want to know what are your concerns about your commuting. Great, and we have the responses. Public health, yeah, very understandable. Also traffic. So a little bit of everything, but basic public health is number one. That's good to know. Thank you very much. So we're gonna give a couple of minutes to get more people logged in while we get started. Okay, good. We are 88 people now. That's amazing. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so let me introduce myself again. My name is Erica Sari. As I said, I'm a consultant to the SANDAG iCommute program. I'll be your moderator today, so thank you very much for the trust and having me here. We have a great group of panelists today to talk about different things, and we have a full agenda, but I want to go over some housekeeping notes before we get started. So the first one is that on your right-hand side of your screen, you have a box, and you can enter your questions there throughout the webinar. We're going to address those questions at the end of the webinar just to save time. Then the second one is that this webinar is being recorded. So if you want to watch it again, or if you want to share it with your colleagues and friends, please feel free to do that. We're going to send an email later today with a link, and also we're going to post it on our website, icommutesd.com. And finally, just like the poll questions that you responded before, we're going to have more poll questions throughout the webinar. We want to keep it interactive and learn more about the audience. So please answer those questions. So right now, the GoToMeeting is reporting some technical difficulties, issues with the poll questions. So if you experience that, hopefully not, just minimize your window. That has worked for me. Hit the escape button, it minimizes, and then you can answer the question. If that does not work, please enter your answer on the question box, and that way we can count your vote. Okay, those are the housekeeping items, and we can move on to the agenda. Right? I think there is a little lag with my mouse. There it is, agenda. So as I said, we have a full agenda today. I am going to start by giving you an overview of SANDAG and the iCommute program. Then we're going to move there to our amazing presenters that we have today. And we have representatives from different transportation modes. We're going to start with our partners with transit, from the Metropolitan Transit System, and also from North County Transit District. Then we're going to move to Vanpool, our Vanpool partner with iCommute, with enterprises here to talk about different things that they're doing. Then we're going to move to Carpool. Waze Carpool is here to give us some safety, let us know about some safety initiatives they're doing and they're implementing. And last but not least, we're going to move to active transportation. For that, my colleague from iCommute, Deborah Jones, is going to tell us some safety tips and different good things that we're going to learn today. At the end, we're going to cover all the Q&A questions, all the Q&A section, and then please remember to enter all your questions on the box. We're going to try to get through all of them at the end of the presentations. Okay, so let's get started. There it is. So SANDAG. For those who are not familiar with SANDAG, SANDAG is the San Diego Association of Governments and is the region's long-term planning agency. It is made up of representatives from the 18 cities of San Diego and also the county. In other words, SANDAG is responsible for creating the long-term visions for the San Diego region. And it helps to answer questions like, what do we want the region to look in the future? Where will we live? How are we going to get around? Also, topics about environment and in general, quality of life for everyone, all of us who live in this beautiful city. Okay. Now, iCommute is the transportation demand management program at SANDAG. And the mission of this program is to reduce traffic, congestion, and also greenhouse gas emissions. I'm part of this program, and I'm very proud to be part of it. All the programs and services are to encourage sustainable transportation alternatives. And all these programs and services are free. Yes, they're free for commuters and also for local businesses. For commuters, there are different services and programs, and you can find them all on the website, icommutesc.com, such as ample subsidy, also information about telework. We also have the regional bike map, the bike lockers, the guaranteed ride home. I mean, a lot of things. So please visit the website. For the employers, we are a team, a small team of account executives, and we work one-on-one with employers. And we help them develop and implement different commuter benefit programs for their employees. Now, a little information about myself and why I really like the mission of this of iCommute is because I grew up in Mexico City, and as many of you know, it is a city with so many people, 20 million when I used to live there. And also, I spent about 45 minutes in traffic and of course in a lot of pollution. Now that I live here in San Diego and I'm part of a program that takes care of those specific things, traffic and pollution, I am very happy to be here and give my little bit of contribution to help people to have a less stressful commute, just easier. And I'm very happy that exists a program like this. So now let's move now with the presentation. And we're gonna go with, before we move with the next presenter, we're gonna have another poll question. Okay, and this poll question, we would like you to tell us, what are your plans to return to the office? Have you already returned? Well, you're gonna return soon. Are you gonna continue working from home a few days a week, or you don't know yet? Please remember, try to minimize your window to try to answer there. If not, please post your questions on the question box. Great, I see more people coming in. Welcome, everyone. Okay, well, okay, so the first choice, I will continue to work from home a few days a week, so telework. That is great to know. I think many of us are working from home right now, so that's amazing. Thank you for participating in the poll question. All right, so now we're gonna move to our next, I'm gonna introduce our next presenter. His name is Schupp, and he is the Director of Marketing and Communications at Metropolitan Transit System. Good morning, Rob. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Before I get started in the MTS response to the COVID-19, I just want to give you a little bit of background on MTS. We operate about 100 bus routes throughout San Diego County and 3 major trolley lines. We go from the border to Sereno Valley and from the beaches to Borrego Springs. Also have some commuter service that goes up and down the I-15 corridor between Escondido and downtown. You know, I like to show this screen. This is our ridership performance over the last 2 years. As you can see in the red bars, our ridership was climbing pretty steadily throughout this fiscal year. We had reversed a 3-year trend in downward ridership. So, you know, as the marketing and communications director, my efforts were working. We were telling people to ride and giving them good reasons to ride. And all of a sudden, COVID-19 hit, and I had to start telling people not to ride. So that always hurts. And for a transit agency, we've always been encouraging people to ride transit and explaining all the benefits. And so COVID was a big blow to our agency. In April, you can see our ridership plummeted about 70%. During that time, I'm going to get into all the details, but we've strengthened our sanitizing protocols tremendously, and we've implemented a lot of new riding rules to protect passengers and operators. Ridership is starting to climb back up, and so we have to be very careful as we get back onto transit. I just want to assure you that there's been some major studies around the world on riding transit, and it's found that transit is not a super spreader of COVID. Paris, Tokyo, Austria studies found that not one case originated on transit. But the keys to that and the success of that is to always wear face coverings, avoid unnecessary conversations, avoid touching surfaces, washing hands often, and maximizing physical distancing. I mean, those are the rules that have been kind of ingrained in all of us throughout this thing. You know, MTS has always had really strong cleaning protocols, even before Hep A outbreak, before COVID. We always clean every vehicle every night. We've got almost 950 vehicles out there. We clean those every night. We have 54 trolley stations that are cleaned daily, and we've even upped that schedule. 400 bus shelters, 1,500 bus benches. We're out there all the time cleaning these things up so you can feel safe. But since Hep A outbreak, that was a couple of years ago, we've started using the strongest disinfectants recommended by CDC. And not related to any of this, but we've begun to replace all of our seats, cloth seats, with vinyl. All of our seats now on trolleys are vinyl, and all new buses that we order are also going to vinyl seats. So that it's easier to keep clean and maintain. Since COVID-19 hit, of course, we've upped all of our protocols tremendously. We use a disinfecting fog on all of our buses. This seeps into all of the surfaces on the buses and kills COVID-19. Also gets into the air circulation systems and kills germs in there as well. We've partnered with the County of San Diego. We have hand washing stations at all of our trolley stations and a few of our major bus stations. During COVID, we implemented rear door boarding and no cash collected on our buses. This helped protect our drivers. I'm happy to say that since COVID started, we've had only 25 incidents of positive COVID tests. 11 of those were operators. None of those incidents were shown to contract the disease at work. So all of our efforts are helping, and we're getting a lot of help from our customers too. They are complying with face covering mandates and are cooperating tremendously. We're about to install germ barriers on all of our buses. Again, that will help protect our operators. That will allow us to go back to front door boarding and to accept cash. We take every employee's temperature every day. There's 2,500 of us, every operator, every maintainer, every person that climbs on a bus and cleans it at night. All of our temperatures are taken every day. And we've instituted midday vehicle and station cleaning, kind of reallocated some of our our human resources to ensure that our stations are cleaned during the day. And our department here in marketing has been really busy putting together signage for rules for riding. Just remember, just giving people constant cues to follow hygiene rules. What's next? You know, when COVID hit, we had that 70% decline in ridership. We reduced service about 25%. Well, ridership is clicking back up, so it's time to return to pre-COVID service levels. A couple of weeks ago, we reinstituted 7.5-minute service on the Blue Line. This week, we're starting to restore all of the frequencies on our buses. That graphic on the right is a little bit hard to see, but those check marks you see in the column are the bus routes that are going to see increases in frequencies. And we're doing that so we can allow people to spread out on our buses. We're also putting 60-foot buses where a lot of 40-foot buses were operating before. Again, that allows our passengers maximum physical distancing. We're going to have a digital and social media campaign reminding people of the rules to ride. We're going to put even more signage up there in the coming days. And we've also established an innovations task force that's really looking ahead. We'd like to do some new technologies. You know, our buses and trolleys have Wi-Fi. They're reporting back diagnostics all the time to headquarters, so we know how many people are on board all of our trolleys and buses at any given time. It would be really cool if we could develop an app so people could see the passenger loads and allow them to make better decisions as to when they want to ride, when trains and trolleys and buses might be less crowded. We're going to institute a better alert system. And then we're looking into audible help tools whereby you can go onto social media channels and actually ask verbal questions, and you'll get a verbal reply, whether it be, you know, when's the next bus coming or how crowded the next bus is. So we're looking at new tools to enhance the customer experience all the way around. Again, I just want to reiterate all of the best practices. You know, wear face coverings. We're going to be out there in the next couple of weeks. I don't know if we're going to make it July 6th. It might be July 16th, but we're going to do a whole series of public outreach. We're going to be handing out face coverings, hand sanitizers, and other materials to help people follow the rules. But you're going to have, we're going to need help in physical distancing. Some of our routes already have more people than would allow 6 feet between people. So as people get in and off trolleys and buses, we're asking for people to help provide that distancing. You know, carry your own sanitizers, avoid conversation. You can use our mobile phone app. We have one-way fares on there now, so that you know, that would limit the number of contacts you have with our ticket vending machines. You can load passes onto your phone and launch them when you ride. If you see something out there that doesn't look right, you can call us or you can text us. We have a Ride Assured program. Texting is always easy. We'll respond to your calls and text when necessary. And then we have a whole bunch of videos on our website, sdmts.com. We have, you know, how to ride, all of our safety protocols. So if you have any questions at all about MTS, if you want to plan a trip, it's all right there on our website. But I think that concludes my presentation.
Great. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for sharing all the cleaning protocols and safety measures that MTS is taking to keep the riders safe. Then we're going to move to our next transit provider. We have Seann Loofbourrow. He is the Chief of Safety at North County Transit District. Welcome, Seann. I'll hand the microphone to you.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. And again, like Rob said, I appreciate being part of this panel. I think it's important to let people know what the transit agencies are doing to maintain a good, safe ride for folks that are riding. And a lot of the stuff that Rob covered, you're going to hear again. And I think that's good for a couple reasons. One, it means that we're following the rules that are out there, either from the state or the county. And then also, two, that we coordinate and collaborate together to make sure those folks that are riding on transit, wherever it may be in San Diego County, will have a safe, user-friendly ride for wherever they're going. And we do have customers that take both MTS and North County transit vehicles So I want to make sure to give them the comfort that it's safe, whatever transit that they ride on in the county. Okay, next. So I'll talk a little bit about our system, how we're oriented. I'll talk about some of our operations and what we're doing to make sure that that our customers do have a safe ride when they decide to come back to commute. We'll talk about how we're reaching out to our customers through public communications, and then some of the things we're looking longer term to do because transit's changing. COVID-19 has had a significant effect on how people move, how people work, where they choose to work, whether it's from home or in the office. And so we'll talk about some things we're looking longer term to try to address some of those issues. As far as NCTD, we have 5 primary modes of transit. We have Coaster, which is a commuter rail, which runs from Oceanside Transit Center down to Santa Fe Depot downtown. We have the Sprinter hybrid rail, which connects Oceanside and Escondido and runs east-west. We also have our fixed route fleet, which is called the Breeze. We have demand response service, which is called Flex, and then our paratransit service, which is called Lyft. Our services in general remain the same even throughout COVID. We did see the same significant drop in ridership that MTS saw, and that was nationwide. But for the most part, our services remain the same. We did reduce Coaster by about 50% during weekday and no weekend service just based on ridership. And then on the bus side, we did eliminate some school trippers, and that's just school buses or buses that go to schools because schools were not doing in-class education. So other than that, the Sprinters remained the same, and we have our routes. So we're out there, still out there serving North San Diego County. As far as some of the things we've done, as previously discussed, we do clean and disinfect our vehicles daily. We do have additional cleaning at some of our layover transit centers, such as Oceanside, Vista, and Escondido. All of our facilities are clean and disinfected daily, and the restrooms specifically are touched multiple times a day to make sure that they're clean. That includes wiping the high touch points, such as doorknobs, handles, etc., to make sure that all of our facilities and vehicles are safe for folks when they come out to use our services. As far as what we're doing, all of our operators and contractors wear face masks. That's required, but we actually implemented that before it was a requirement from the county. We're also passing out face masks. So if you do want to ride and you don't have a face mask, that's okay. We're happy to provide a single-use disposable face covering for you while you're on board one of our vehicles. What we've observed for compliance, so a vast majority of our passengers don't need those masks because they are already coming on board with face coverings, and we appreciate that. So we've been tracking our customers, and in general, for Coaster and our bus, we're seeing about 99% compliance. So it's less than 1% of our riders that have been coming on without some sort of face covering, and about 97% on the Sprinter. So again, great job by the folks that are riding, but that also is a good reassurance for those that are returning to transit that it will be a safe ride when you come back to join us. Similar to MTS, we've implemented rear door boarding for the fixed route service, and we're monitoring those passenger counts again to try to maintain social distancing the best we can while the vehicles are operating. Some projects that we have coming up in the future, also similar to our partners down south, we're installing bus operator protection barriers on buses. That'll be a safety feature not only for our customers when we decide to go back to front door boarding, but as well as our coach operators. We've ordered hand sanitizing equipment, and we're going to put those on all of our vehicles. We already have them on our commuter rail on the Coaster, but we're ordering a bunch more to make sure that we have hand sanitizer available for our customers on all our revenue vehicles. Additionally, we've ordered a thermal camera system that will be used at all of our facilities to temperature screen all of our employees daily. We're currently doing manual temperature screening with handheld thermometers, but we have ordered a system that will make it automatic, that as folks come in, we'll check the temperature, and that just makes sure that operator is safe and ready to go to provide that service to you, and it also protects our other employees. We're communicating with the public via a variety of different methods. So we have updates on our website, gonctd.com. We also have a COVID page, which has frequently asked questions and details some of our additional cleaning protocols and things that we're doing to make sure we have a safe ride. We do press releases and also active on social media on Twitter and Facebook. So please sign up, like, and follow, and you can get updates from NCTD that way. We also are doing additional signage on board vehicles to make sure it's clear what customers need to do and what we're asking them to do, and that includes rear door boarding. The destination sign on the front of the bus will direct customers to the rear door as well. And then we do have signage to make sure everybody is compliant with the appropriate face covering rule. So what we're doing in the future, again, we want to focus on our customers to make sure that safety is our one of our core values, and want to make sure that the customer has a safe ride as well as our employees. So we are partnering with the North San Diego Economic Development Council to make sure we know when businesses are reopening, and if they have questions or concerns, we're able to answer those questions. We've also established a Ridership and Recovery Growth Task Force that includes agency employees for NCTD, as well as our board of directors, contractors, and then some of our regional transportation partners, including Metrolink, OCTA, SANDAG, and MTS. We've done customer surveys, so we're looking at those surveys to try to better understand the needs of current and future riders. We will have additional surveys, so those will be posted on our website and social media, so that's another good reason to sign up. And overall, based on this pandemic, transit is going to change. The way people move around the county is going to change, and we want to be able to know where that is and be able to provide the service that people need so they can get through either to work, to home, to school, whatever that may be. So that's what we're doing currently. That's what we're going to do in the future. And again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Seann, for all the great information. We need to check that website and all the different platforms you mentioned to keep updated of all the safety measures. I'm glad to say that I see many questions coming from the audience regarding transit, so we'll save those for the last. Next, we're going to move to Vanpool, and for that, I would like to introduce Neil Semcheski. He is the area sales manager at Commute with Enterprise. Welcome, Neil.
Thank you, Erica. Hey there. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. All yours.
Appreciate it. Well, appreciate bringing me on today. Hello, everyone. My name is Neil Semcheski. I am the area sales manager for Commute with Enterprise, which is the van pooling service that we offer here in the greater San Diego region. Just today, before jumping in, want to go over with you. Hold on. I'm trying to move it forward here. There we go. I'm going to go over a little introduction about Commute with Enterprise itself, the best practices for the procedures and ways that we're helping cope with the COVID-19 here in San Diego for our van pools, for best practice to keep their vehicles clean, to keep our customers safe, and the pledge that we're asking them to kind of stick with as they roll out new van pools or for van pools that are starting to return to work. And ultimately, just a quick rundown for those that are not familiar about the service is how it can benefit both employees and organizations and companies here in the San Diego area with some of the benefits to follow. So quick introduction on Commute with Enterprise. We are the one service of Enterprise that I always say it's the one that no one knows anything about, but it's the best service we offer because it helps employees get to and from work. This program and the service has been operating over about 20 years now here in the greater San Diego region. One of our first van pools actually in the country started here in San Diego. So we're definitely proud to be a supported member of transportation here in the area. And SANDAG is a strong supporter customer of ours because they help provide a subsidy of $400 a month, which in the end helps reduce the cost for the end users. Currently, right now, we have around 560 van pools for San Diego with over 2,500 for the Southern California region. Close to 400 of them are operating right now with the transition of between 100 to 160 phasing back over the next month or two as employers start bringing employees back on. And we do work with a wide selection of organizations and companies such as our B2B, our military, our hospitals, our federal and state worksites, along with government. So we hit a wide sector of customers that we're accommodating to each day. But going into looking at the van pool service is that we understand, there are essentials workers that are dependent on the current van pools that they're operating to get to and from. So of course, in a time where practicing social distance, it's like, how can we put best practices in place to keep our people safe? So diving right into that, we started with the Complete Clean Pledge. For all vehicles that were returning from suspension or that are going to be starting up as a new van pool, we're providing clean starter kits with spray bottles and disinfectant pods, box of disposable gloves, masks, roll of paper towels, a cleaning checklist with guidelines that we're asking that they stick to in order to keep a sanitary, clean form of transportation for them getting to and from work every day. So we're asking not only the van pool coordinators, but for all the riders to pledge to keep their vehicles, their daily transportation clean, to help protect themselves and what we like to call their van families. That was the first start of many things that we're continuously doing. And do know that these practices have been in place for the last 2 to 3 months, onboarding new ones as we've gone with communication going out to our current van pools and ones that are currently planning on getting on the road. So when we think about van pooling, some people are a little hesitant about bringing a group of people together in a vehicle. However, what separates the van pool for public transportation is that it's a controlled environment. When you look at things like that you may encounter on a day-to-day now that people are transitioning back to going to, grocery stores, to gyms, back to work, just being out in public places like restaurants, those are not controlled environments. There's continuous people coming in and out. You don't know what that looks like. However, the van pool, it's specifically for these riders, which we like to call the van family. So it's the same commuters day in and day out, where they provide a level of assurance and accountability for one another. So again, it's that controlled environment to keep those safeties. It's your ride and your rules. So basically these van poolers can set like, hey, it's mandatory that everybody wear a mask. If you wake up that morning and you're not feeling too well, you don't ride the van pool that day. We've put in some practices for sharing the driving, the cleaning and maintenance responsibilities that they can share and how often they want to do that. Some other things that we've put in place as well is providing the touchless thermometers. So before a participant gets on the van pool, they scan themselves. We know a lot of companies have been implementing this. So even before an employee gets to work and then gets scanned and may have to be told to go back home, this would avoid them going all the way to work, is by their van pool doing it as well. So with this, you're looking at limiting your exposure, right? You're with limited capacity. Van pools inherently minimize exposure to others when compared to larger and more populated commuting options that are currently out there. So again, we've implemented some of these best practices. We'll work with our van pools to help set these guidelines up and advise for when they're returning or starting anew to make sure they're following the best practices as well. Account support, again, we are here. We have our local account management and sales team. We have our customer service reps teams who are here throughout the day and accessible at any time to help answer the questions that they have and for what guidelines and practices that we're putting in place to help get them these clean kits, to help get them the checklist, to help control their environment, thermometers. And again, so we partner from the beginning, and this communication has already been sent out multiple times to our current van pools so they can start putting these practices in place, not just for the new ones that are starting up here in the future. Just to take a look at the control pledge, again, we've provided a full checklist that we provide to everyone for what they should be keeping clean with the cleaning tools that we're providing them. So as you can see, it's a pretty extensive list of what they need to really be cleaning to ensure their safety for the riders of their individual van pools. Another thing as well is we've looked at the way people are configuring how they ride to work. So we do offer, besides our 7-passenger SUVs and minivans, we offer our transit vans, which at an example of a seating here, even though it's not exactly 6 feet apart, there's still a solid amount, anywhere between 3 to 5 feet, when you look at adding only 5 or 6 riders to a 12 or 15 passenger vehicle that accommodates individual seating. So again, we're looking at, okay, what are some other practices? So we can increase the size of the vehicle, but provide people individual seats so they're not sitting next to each other on a bench-style chair. We can also implement a protective cough shield between the driver and the passengers. You'd see these kind of in taxis, other shuttle services. So we can also now put these into our vehicles to separate the person driving or the person in the front seat from the passengers also, just to help with a little extra protection. But again, we're looking at ways to help provide a little further social distancing in the current van pools that we are operating. And just a quick recap for those that might not be familiar with what Commute is. It is a van pooling service. We simply work with organizations to help increase productivity levels, increase their retention while looking at ways to provide a better service for recruiting new talent. It is a great Go Green initiative, and it's a highly cost-effective way for employees to get to and from work that can also help save organizations money as well. And again, we know there's a lot of commuters here in the San Diego region that depend on these van pools to get to and from, so we want to make sure they're practicing best guidelines for safe commuting purposes. Lastly, just a quick scope, if you were 1,000 employees, so anyone that's on the call, if you're looking at this option for their organization, it's a quick breakdown of what your potential could be to be on site with commuter miles reduced, a CO2 reduction, and employee savings. Again, my team will work with you guys to put guidelines for best practices show you what a van pool program could look like at your organization. And just lastly, a few details. We do provide new model vehicles. All vehicles that are being started are brand new, and they're cleaned and disinfected before the day of delivery as well. And our drivers are required to wear masks and gloves upon delivery. It's a simple month-to-month convenience. It's no long-term commitment. We provide coverage on the vehicles up to total loss. We provide emergency ride homes too. We provide full maintenance. We offer 24/7 roadside assistance. Typically, we're saving people about 80% of their commuting costs to and from work. And it's a sense of rider confidence because you're traveling with people, so if something were to happen on the road. So just a few benefits to the program there for anybody that may or not get familiar with Commute with Enterprise. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Hold on. Thank you, Neil. I like that term, the van pool family, and all that information about the account support is very helpful. Now we're going to move to a poll question. And now this question is to know how did you most frequently get to work before the stay-at-home orders? Carpool and van pool, transit, active transportation like bike, scooter, walk, drive alone, or telework. Remember, if you're having trouble, try to minimize that window or put your answer on the question box. See, a couple of minutes. Thank you for participating. By the way, this is very useful information for us to know. So we didn't get the result. There it is. So interesting. So almost half of the people of the audience was using transit. Then 16% carpool and van pool, and 5% active transportation. Excellent. That says why we have so many questions for the transit partners. Thank you very much. Now we're going to move to the next presenter, and for that I'm going to introduce Flavia Sasaki Siqueira. She is the business development team lead at Southern California at Waze Carpool. Hi, Flavia. Welcome.
Hi, Erica. Thank you. So, hi everyone. I'm Flavia Sasaki, Waze Carpool BD lead for Southern California, and it's great to be here with all of you today. Thank you everyone who's participating, who's taking the time, and SANDAG specifically for inviting us back. So I will, let me see if I can move forward, not so fast. I will share how Waze, this is the agenda, but the idea is to share how Waze and Waze Carpool has addressed safety as it relates to COVID-19. So we've all had to adapt as we navigate this unusual time. And so I would like to take a moment here to share what we have seen and heard from our partners since March. And starting off with taking a look, I know this is kind of small, but taking a look at how driven miles specifically, which is a metric that we follow very closely, has pretty much taken a pretty steep decrease towards the end of March. But as the US starts to move again, the last 3 weeks we have seen a 13% increase in this specific metric. And as it relates to San Diego and the LA area, we've seen also driven miles pretty much plummeting towards the end of March, but it's starting to pick up slowly but surely in the area. In the last 3 weeks, we have seen a almost 20% increase in driven miles. So, and with, and although I'm not sharing here Carpool numbers, and you might be wondering, what about Carpool? I can tell you that number, that metric specific, is also moving into the right direction. And with that, right, there has come a lot of different questions from partners, from the users, in regards to whether is Carpool safe? Are there other safe options out there? What among some of the others? I just highlighted a few here to share it with you. And but before we jump in addressing or sharing how we're addressing some of these questions, I wanted to take a moment to walk you through some of the ways that Waze has really kept our users safe from the very beginning as something we care deeply about it, not only on the Waze side, but the Waze Carpool as well. And so I'll highlight a few features and alerts that keep us safe, such as the speed limit alerts to ensure to discourage speeding, the railroad crossing alerts, child reminder, the roadside assistant capability, and voice commands, so you can operate the app with your voice only. And our commitment during crisis response as well. And here's just an example during Hurricane Harvey and how we helped everyone find the evacuation centers. So with that, it brings us back to talking about safety as it relates to Waze Carpool, which is also a super top priority for Waze. We have committed to put the user in control. By that I mean in control of their choosing their carpoolers, of figuring out where they want to be picked up and dropped off. Users are also in control of creating their own private groups or joining an employer existing group, and then filtering by that, and filtering also by gender or coworkers if that's what they need. Users also in control of reporting, blocking users to help improve their experience and everybody else's experience. And users are in control of rating. They can rate their ride every single time and really enhance the experience of the community and help others. So so this brings us back to how we've been doing and how we've been addressing some of the questions that I exposed us all to a few slides back. And we've had to think through this, and really the first thing that I want to share is that we realize it's not our domain of expertise. We're not experts in the health and safety environment, and we've had to turn to the experts for answers. And by that I mean, more specifically, we are reinforcing the CDC, the great guidance put out by the CDC, and really advocating for some of the things that are highlighted here, avoiding touching surfaces and practicing social distance, improving ventilation, practicing hand hygiene, all of which we believe can be practiced and implemented before, during, after every carpool. And additionally, we have also been recommending the very detailed guidance that the Association for Commuter Transportation, known as ACT, has put out as well. It's great advice specifically for carpooling. I really believe is an extension of what the ACT has provided, and is very, very informative for employers or directly to carpoolers or anyone who's interested in making sure that if they're going to jump back and they need to carpool, they do so in a very safe manner. And we kind of package all of that, right? Both the guidance coming from the CDC, from ACT, and have shared this via email and communications to our partners. There has been over 150 emails sent out reinforcing the safety guidance. Some of you on this call may have already gotten and seen this communication. And along with that, we've sent updated email templates and new digital assets with all new flyers and posters and many other things that usually is very helpful for our partners. And then for the rest, for all Wazers and Waze carpoolers in our community, one of the first things that we did really in response and to align with ACT and CDC guidelines was to deactivate the multiple passenger ride feature. And along with that, there's been other pluses, things like essential worker parking mapped in our map, as well as the contact-free collection business being marked in the map as well. And our community has been super hard at work mapping also food distribution in all the medical centers. So yeah, on this note, I will wrap it up and really say that we are here to continue collaborating with partners, and we'll continue to provide our service to everyone who relies on us. And I'm very grateful for SANDAG for giving us all the opportunity to share and learn from one another. And so whenever you guys are partners, everyone listening here, we're ready. Whenever you're ready to carpool, to plan or a little bit more in detail your transportation, back to work strategies, we're here to help. So feel free to reach out with questions, with suggestions, and thank you very much for the time. And with that, I'll pass it back to Erica.
Thank you, Flavia. Thank you for all the support and being available for everyone here who is listening. Okay, and then we are going to move now to active transportation, and I would like to introduce Deborah Jones. She is the Associate and Account Executive at SANDAG iCommute for the Employer Program. Welcome, Deborah. We're ready to hear all the safety tips that you have for bike, walk, and scooter. Hi.
All right. Hey, Erica. Terrific. Well, thank you so much. So in addition to transit commuting, vanpool commuting, carpool commuting, you might be considering active commuting to get to work. And we're basically defining active commuting as getting on your bike. I've brought my bike upstairs so you can see my bike, maybe walking to work, or maybe taking a scooter to work. So I wanted to go through a few of those commutes. And we'll start by just some of the benefits of these commutes. Sorry, went a little too fast there. So the benefits of these active commutes is, one, you can do them by yourself and you can keep your distance. So those are a couple of the CDC guidelines that you can just do instantly. And then it's out in the fresh air, which they're advising to be a good place to be to avoid the virus. And then it's kind of a twofer. You're getting some exercise while you're going to work. So those are just some of the easy benefits of active commuting. Then I've got some tips here. First of all, with bike commuting. So with bike commuting, I've broken it down into four ways. So planning your trip, protecting yourself, preparing your gear, and then basically you're getting there. You're there at work. So planning your trip is as simple as finding the right bike route. I don't know if bike commuting is new to you. Maybe you've tried it on Bike to Work Day, or maybe you do it all the time. But a great resource is our regional bike map. We do have an interactive version of it on our website, or maybe at a Bike to Work Day event, you picked up a paper version of it. Just spread that on the table, find out your best bike route, or even consult Google Maps for your best bike route to take to work. I put protect yourself because that's really important, to wear your helmet, to wear bright clothing, to wear a face covering. When I'm riding my bike, I just slip my face covering over my face when I'm passing people, or just on an area where I might be past myself. Just to have a gaiter or buff around your neck. And if you're commuting at night or in low light, to put a light either on your bike or on yourself, just so that you're being seen. Preparing your gear, simply check the tire pressure on your bike and your brakes. You might want to use a day pack or maybe a sling backpack, so you can put your gear in there, but your hands are free. Bring a lock. We do have bike thefts here in San Diego, so you'll want to lock your bike. And then snacks and a water bottle and some hand sanitizer. So just prepare your gear, get ready for your bike commute. Then when you get to work or you're in destination, just park and lock your bike to something secure. We do have some tips on our bike map about the best places to lock your bike and where on your bike to attach your lock. Wash your hands, use your hand sanitizer, especially if you've been sweating. You've got stuff on you that you don't want to contaminate other services. So just best practice to wash your hands. Shower or towel off if you have an opportunity to shower at your workplace. Enjoy your snack, your banana or your granola bar and some water, and then you're ready for work. So just moving on, we do have some bike resources on our webpage, so please consult those. Just for the sake of time, I won't go into this for too much too much detail, but one thing we do have coming up is on June 30th, which is next Tuesday. We have a bike commuting class. There's one at 11 and one at 2 p.m. So the next commuting tips I have is about walking to work, and those are very similar to biking to work. A couple things I'll just call out. One, in terms of protecting yourself, just be careful when you're crossing the street. So what I do for best practice is I make eye contact with the drivers, and I make sure that they see me. I also wear bright clothes or wear a reflective vest. And then your other gear that you'll want to take with you or to wear is comfortable clothing, comfortable shoes, your face covering, hat, sunglasses, sunscreen if you're going to be commuting by walking in the afternoon sun. And then once you're there, the other thing that I would suggest, in addition to some of those tips I gave you for bike commuting, is to just do a quick stretch. You know, you might be walking a mile or 2 miles, and you might get a bit stiff if you just go straight to your office desk and you sit down all day. So just do a quick stretch. And then I've got finally some scooter tips. So scooter is another one of those active commutes that you can do alone and outdoors. We do have some scooter vendors that are in the city of San Diego and elsewhere in the county. So one, you'll want to download those scooter apps to find out which one and where they are. Wear a helmet. It's not required, but it's definitely best practice because you don't want to crash and hit your head. Follow the rules of the road, and most importantly, where to park. There are fines if you don't park in the right spot. So there's more information on all of the scooter vendors' websites. Check that scooter before you check it out and start riding. Check the brakes, check the lights, wipe it down, bring some sanitation wipes, wipe it down, be safe, wear your face covering also when you're riding your scooter. And then when you do get to work, just park it in the right spot. So I know that's a lot to take in. We are going to be posting these tips on our website, so you can spend a little bit more time or reach out to us at iCommute and we can help you with your active commute. So thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you, Deborah. I know biking has been one of those modes that all of a sudden during this period of time, people have been doing more. And it is great to have these safety tips, not only for commuting, but also to do it as a, just to get out of the house and do active things. Thank you so much. We also have some questions for biking, but we're going to leave that at the end. But before we go into the question section, we're going to run the last poll question, and that is, if you can pull it on the screen, we would like to know, what mode of transportation are you considering when you go back to work? Is it carpool, vanpool, transit, active transportation, drive alone, or continue teleworking? Remember, minimize your window or post your answer on the question box. Okay, we wait a few seconds. Okay, telework, actually transit. That's very good. 32% say transit, then followed by telework, then drive alone and carpool. So all of them are being represented here. That's great. I hope that all this information has been helpful for everyone. Now let's move to the questions. We have many questions. I think the panels are going to be showing on the screen. Okay, great. I see Deborah, Rob, Seann. I don't see Flavia. Okay, there you are. So I have a question for, let's see, for Rob or Seann, whoever wants to respond to this question. Many people have asked about mask wearing in the transit. Are you planning to do some kind of enforcement for mask wearing?
Yeah, at MTS, we do try to enforce that. Luckily, like in North County, we're having great compliance from our riders. 97 to 98% are wearing face masks. We are putting signage on the front doors of all of our buses now saying that face masks are required. Our bus operators are probably going to have to stop people that are getting on. Some people are more belligerent than others. Let's put it that way. In those instances, we're going to have to be very careful. We don't want to have altercations, particularly with our bus operators and security people, but we are going to strongly encourage the use of face masks, and we'll be out there handing out face masks to people that don't have them.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rob. The next question is for Flavia. Flavia, one person in the audience wants to know if Waze will be providing a way for drivers to advertise the rules for riding with them.
So if we're providing, can you repeat, for drivers?
Yes. Will Waze be providing a way for drivers to advertise the rules for riding with them? Being able to post guidelines ahead of time would help riders identify drivers who they would like to match with based on safety protocols.
At this point, we're not pushing out information specific to a driver or to drivers. There is right now, if you open the app, we do remind to all the users, right, to follow local guidelines. And with that, I really hope that everyone is familiar. I think through our partnerships, we are informing, giving a lot more detailed information. But yeah, at this point, no, but we are reviewing, all of this on a very fluid basis with partners and figuring out how can we through them, right, communicate a little bit more in detail. But at this point, no, we're not really speaking directly to a driver or rider, and I'm really just hoping that with this reminder that pops up on the app, people will follow local guidelines and be very safe.
Okay, great. Thank you, Flavia. The next question it's going to be for Neil. And Neil, they want to know, how is Enterprise checking up on the cleaning requirements for the vans?
Say that one more time.
How will Enterprise handle, how is Enterprise checking on the cleaning requirements of the vans, of the van pools?
Right. So with the van pools, it's left up, they independently operate on their own. The van pools are the ones that set their guidelines for their leave times, who drives what days, what their routes look like. That is something that we physically cannot control. However, we can work with, say, the company to put something in writing that the van pool groups can sign. Like if the company is subsidizing or supporting the program, really it's more really relying on the individuals to do that themselves, because it is independently operated by them in a sense. Like they're the ones that control that. So, but typically if you have 5 or 6 people that, out of say 7 that want that vehicle clean, they're going to keep that vehicle clean and they're going to go by the checklist. But we can do some implementations, like if an organization or company wants us to put like something in writing for the van pool participants to sign saying that they're going to keep it clean. But for the most part, it's really up to them to take that pledge upon themselves. We can't physically mandate what a person does with their van pool because it's their vehicle to utilize.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Neil. Deborah, we actually received a question from one person who registered, and they sent the question again, and they want to know how can they get bikes at their workplace, bike cubicles or bike lockers at their workplace.
At their workplace.
Yeah.
We have a regional bicycle locker program, and those bicycle lockers are primarily at transit stations and park and ride lots. So when they get to their workplace, it's going to be something that is going to be up to their employer to have a place for them to securely lock their bikes. We put together a vendor list to pass out to employers so that if they want to buy bike racks or bike lockers, so that they can perhaps handle an uptick in the number of people that are bike commuting, they can help their employees by buying some bike lockers or bike racks. So if that's your case, kind caller or participant, please get in contact with us for that list.
Okay, and as long as you are on the line, Deborah, they also want to know, how do they register for the virtual bike class on June 30th?
They can contact us at our iCommute email address, and we'll send them the registration link. It's free to attend.
Great. I'm going back to transit because we had a lot of questions for the transit. And this one, I'm going to send this one to you, Seann. Is there an email address I can send my concerns about taking mass transit? Or if both of you want to respond, that's fine.
As far as an address for us, we have customer service representatives that can take any comment from any customer at any time. It can be found on our website. There's also a email link there that they can send an email, or they can do a phone call. So we take feedback from customers all those ways, and it'll be answered once we get it. And like I said, there's a link on the website that they can use the website to enter a form. They can send an email or call, and they can. We'll certainly take all those concerns.
Okay. Great. So we have so many questions, but we are approaching the hour mark of the webinar. We want to be respectful of your time and also the audience. But I'm going to move to the next slide, or we move to the next slide. I would like to show the audience the email addresses and your names. So if they have more questions, they can send directly to you or to me. I appreciate all. I mean, I have so many questions, so maybe we can share them with you. But I appreciate, first of all, I want to thank all of you for being here today. All these different information that you provide about safety, it is very, very useful. I know we are in a different world right now, and any information is very helpful. I also want to thank the audience. Thank you for taking time of your day to spend an hour with us to hear all this information. For me, I'm very happy to be here with you today. I thank you all. I wish you good health, and also please keep using alternative transportation to keep our San Diego clean. Thank you very much to all of you. Oh,